I know, the pressure. I was like, do you do like peanut butter and jelly jam?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she is not. But like, who gets the morning? Yeah. Who does morning meetings?
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Who
ready
takes
to
your
get
kids
up.
to daycare?
I would be like, this is you. You did this.
I know.
And he would have.
I know.
Yeah. If I'm making you full host, are you gonna be able to check?
I had a sneeze on my ear and then I was like, okay, I thought you could not.
You
You cannot have 3
So-
breakfasts. You did yesterday.
Co-hosts won't work for the breakout room, so let's wait and do the hosting until it's like go time.
Started
And then we'll switch right back.
today. I'm obsessed now.
And then once I will, I'll pay
So
attention.
nuggets to give to teachers. I hate when other teachers do conferences and then it's just like, you learned all the information.
You did.
Yeah, so we're
Yeah.
gonna
for
get
BSR.
Okay.
I love that.
And no one comes to me, but it
just
is.
Howard and you want to be the host.
Thank you, I
Once
appreciate
it's
it.
Not just for me, but for us as a school. So
Yeah.
like, we need to share it with each other. With people.
I know.
Room's filling up too.
Yeah,
Nuggets from Monday. and double nuggets Today.
Very exciting.
Cameras that are open.
Dude, I know. It's fun. It's okay. That's how I live my life. At all times, I have like 3 open.
good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm gonna go ahead and go because I'm frequently accused of making this session too short. I've got a lot to talk to you guys about, a lot I want to show you, so I'm gonna get started and use my time as wisely as possible. Right, educators? Okay, here we go. Thank you guys for joining me. My name is Katie Moran. I'm an ITRT. I'm originally from Roanoke, born and raised here in the Valley, but I now work in Rockingham County up around JMU. I was a high school world history and US history teacher for 9 years, found the bug and the power of digital learning, and I became an ITRT to try to share the love with some of my coworkers. I'm a certified Google trainer. I am a bit geeky and nerdy for my Google love, and so I am super duper excited to talk to you guys about one of my favorite apps, Google Jamboard. How many of you guys have used Jamboard before? Glad to see you again. There is a whole spectrum of folks. I've had folks tell me they didn't know that Jamboard was something outside of Google Meet. I've had other people who've gone to multiple sessions, have been using it, and are just looking for refreshing strategies. Hopefully you can find something that you're looking for in today's session. So if you would please go to bit.ly/learning-that-sticks. This is where all of my goodies are located. I try to offer you tons of resources that you can put in your back pocket. You may or may not want them, but they're yours for the taking, okay? Many of these are force a copy, so you can have them to manipulate however you want so that you can modify it for your classroom. But to access those resources, all of my clicks and links, you'll need to go to bit.ly or bit.ly/learning-that-sticks. I will have this in Sched after our session today. Because I give away stuff for free, I was being really passive aggressive and making you come here first. All right. So I've got a couple goals. We got to set our goals today. So our goals today are walking away with ready to use things. I'm hoping you can find at least one thing that you can implement in your classroom or work with your teachers starting on Wednesday. To do that, I think we need to discover, I need to even out the playing field a little bit. For those of you who have never used it before versus my pros, we're all going to kind of work together a little bit this morning to get some exposure to Google Jamboard. And then I want to show you exactly how to make the stuff that I made. Because it's kind of one of those teach a man to fish, right? But one of the things I want to point out is the power of using Jamboard on the web. versus the power of using it on a mobile device, using the mobile app such as a Chromebook. There are some different features that are super powerful, and I want you to know what those differences are so that you can lean into your students' differences, okay? All right, here's the tricky part. We are going to do, even with virtual, even with you guys out in my Zoom land, we're gonna do some turn and talk, okay? I'm gonna do my best to use my directions. Does everybody see that my in-room is gonna be over here? Your directions are on the right side. My Zoomers, your directions are over here on the left. I planned accordingly. Oops. So let me adjust this. Put some color back into the situation. Didn't quite know how many folks were going to be in or not. Oops. So let me adjust this presentation. I did not forget about you all. Proper prior planning prevents pitifully poor performance. Raised by a principal and a Boy Scout. There you go. This is for you, Dad. All right. So for my virtual attendees, okay, you guys are going to be put into a breakout room. All right, we're randomly assigning it, making it as easy breezy as possible. When I give the command, when we do this, you will be sent to a room. Please try to pay attention to what room number you're being sent to. That's your group number. You will come and you will click onto that group number. If you didn't catch the room number, ask somebody in the room if they caught it. If nobody in the room caught it, pick a number. Okay, it's not that big of a deal. But when you get in, each of you in your breakout room will be looking at the same activities. There are multiple frames. You'll use the arrows at the top. I'm going to show you different ways that you can use it. There'll be a starter card to kind of talk about how it can be used. There will be an example with instructions on how it's used. The very next one is a blank one for you and your group members to try out. There are lots of different activities for you to do. I encourage you to type and to try because that is how we learn. Okay, any questions so far? Throw them in the chat. If you have a question and you need me to join the group, I feel like raising the hand is a difficult thing in a hybrid situation. So if you have a question, see my all attendees, the hand raising at the bottom of the screen. If you click on this particular Jamboard, I've already placed active green go sticky notes. If you have a question, change it to blue. I'm watching those Jamboards on my Chromebook, okay? If you have a question, or excuse me, change it to red. If you have a question, change it to red. That way I know to hop in and help you out. I might hop in anyways, just because I'm super curious. Questions for my virtual, throw them in the chat. For my in-person, this is easy, turn and talk, okay? Once you guys have a group, I'll come around and give you a number and you'll do the same thing. I encourage you to look at the different jams, to talk about it. Use this opportunity. If you've used a Jamboard, tell us about it. If you've tried one of the strategies and you have a suggestion, talk about it. If this is something you've never seen before, talk about it. We're only going to do this for about 10 minutes. And that's if it works. If it bombs, I'm just going to do it myself. But hey, I'm living large, right? You got to try. So we're going to try to do this. We're going to talk about it. We'll come back together and then I'll start showing you how to make the things that I just showed you. Any questions? Virtual, do we have any questions?
Right now.
All right.
I do.
Virtual, one final reminder, please try to pay attention to your group number so that you know which one to click on. I am here if you have any questions. You can throw me over as host.
Sure.
We're just Hi, I'm Gina.
My name is Gina.
Fantastic. Where are you from?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Frank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What's cool? Duro. I'm at Park of the World. I live in Farron.
Yeah.
I was connected to my
That's what I dislike about it is that it's particular. So, yeah,
All right.
maybe just create the back.
Eight.
Or
9, 10, 11, 12. And now we're really have to see it, okay?
I saw a couple years ago.
So would you like for me to also open up the Jamboard if you have a question, or do you just want to raise your hand? Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
We're going.
All right.
So do you do like the have right now?
I haven't used it as an instructor, but I've used it.
I used this so much virtually last year, like, you had it for everything. You're still having like math, I would give them a page and give them a math problem. And I would write them, go back and forth. And like, first I tried to like answer first and
It never matters.
like in the classroom. So I used to be an elementary school.
Better about writing in each other's.
What do you guys teach?
I'm fourth until I went fourth grade. I'm an instructional coach now.
Okay.
But
Now I'm.
I did third virtual.
Yeah, that's
Right.
Interested.
You
know, I mean, it's kind of love and hate.
Yeah. Well, I teach architecture. And so we're super architecture, energy engineering. And so it's a lot of design. So, I mean, you could even write it. Students will write it. When I kickstart, and then PCC, SNS, and the rest of the last year was able to get to. Oh, yes, that was last year. I've used it like once. I think I did
Like you can see these.
Well, is there any Google Shops or? Mine's all.
Yeah,
By the way,
If you don't mind waiting.
this question will break my family apart. My husband and I have to figure it out like. And neither, exactly, there's its own separate area.
So
I was, no, I actually can't do this. I mean, there's still things that both do that I was looking for strategies.
Yeah.
It'll do a lot of the same things. So let me write on it to let you.
Yeah.
So look and see what strategies they have.
She's saving so much money. So that they can. Really set their kids up.
No, they're not really.
That's why.
And my really
And the mouse is probably. Check on the next one. Next slide.
I
just changed the background color.
But the kids, they're good.
Oh, yeah, the kids.
Oh, they roll.
The kids are good.
So on the brain drain activity, let's do that like they're thinking on the left, and did you match my thinking on the right? Thank you. Every once in a while, I get one really good idea.
when we went, I had the idea
Well,
last year.
I
I don't know if you guys come from like the social studies world, but the level of that, like that's our dream.
We're trying.
I got I didn't, but now I get it. Now I'm gonna keep using it. You're right.
Who would do that?
Like being able to label a map and have a coloring. Like, I wish there were more colors for my phone. That would be a game changer. Feedback? Oh, for you. And then listen, so.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Chromebooks, it's so hard.
This is a touch screen.
So that's why I was like, I never do have it.
I know that my friend. Her kid is. And her kid is.
Touch screen. Isn't that what? They don't.
Yep, they never copy us.
Yeah. Like my kid in kindergarten has a book, like he has his reading bag.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, look at this one. I grabbed this one. Cause like we talk. Okay.
Grabbed it.
All right, did you try this?
So one is reading.
And then that's. That's like one side.
I don't know if I could carve out your hand.
Y'all see that? It's between free and left. You want the takeaways to be on the right. So it's five. So it's blank and white. Yeah, so when you change it, you let them do the work in white. And when you're ready to check for understanding, you change it.
This is.
They actually changed some of these symbols in white text, so you could see it. And actually change back to
What you did yesterday, like you have a page for each one and then they can just put all their on the Jamboard information.
Because you can add a link, and if you do it, if you are mindful about your sharing and just access, and you can go in. Yeah, that's a really cool idea that they could talk about what they
One
learned.
page per.
You spark me.
Like, I'm taking more than so I'm like thinking about that graphic organizer, which I'm all day like. Too much information on one page.
But you can't do citations. Right?
And then citations.
Citations with me all day long.
Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a minute if you want to. I know, wonderful. That was what the sigh was about.
Does it make a difference when we're talking about using this just for slides?
That's an excellent question. So, when I was in the class, not long ago, it's just different little tweaks, like the difference between a drawing and the difference between a slide and a Jamboard function. So for me, I used to teach iPads with my high schoolers and asking them to do the drag and drop where they have to move text boxes with football fingers. I would constantly like flip the word upside down or like resize the thing. So I'm also going to be doing a lot of right? And so the handwriting benefits of this versus depending on your focus on your task, it might not be.
I just heard that sound like.
Sure does. It's automatically saving and you get your version.
If I go to post this on Classroom, do I post it and I make a copy?
Yep, and I have directions on how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's just.
Where's the interactive? Is that the app?
Assistant drawing.
Yep, I'm gonna show you that. I got
There
you.
was a map on looks like 14 and it's gone now.
Oh, no, it's better.
All righty.
I deleted it by accident.
Oh, okay.
One person in the group.
Oh, yes.
I didn't have trainers.
Yeah.
You're gonna add a sticky note. I was like, this should be better than Google Slides. It's just sticky notes.
I am that child and I stop writing it in.
Alrighty, y'all. I'm starting to pull back my breakout rooms from the Zoom. I hope this was beneficial. I hope you found something. I hope maybe it confirmed something you were already doing. Maybe you found an idea that you haven't used before. Maybe you learned about something from your teammate. They feel like a Jam Pro and they had some ideas that they wanted to share with you. Can I just take an instructional moment? Because I love to pull the curtain back so that you can see the wizard. While you guys were working, I used my Chromebook and I kind of minimized 3 windows so that I could see all the jams for my group so I could watch the Post-it notes change color. So this was a real easy way for me to check in on small groups and learning stations and not hover and be obsessive over your shoulder, but a student can easily communicate with me, I need help, please come see me. So this was a really easy way for me to kind of check on you all. And I did in person. I'm sorry I did it with my virtual groups. But this was a way for us to kind of check in and see, are we good? I'd love to hear from the chat as well. So I'm going to open up the chat so I can kind of see, but I am happy to no longer host. All right. What did you get? What did you like? Was there something that reaffirmed that you already do? Was there something you saw that was new? This will.
I liked how you not tricked them, but like the white font, and it just showed up for them. That was cool.
So I think it was like slides number 10 and 11 talked about a brain drain, right? So this was an activity where the students would, on the left-hand side, be able to add a sticky note or add text, what did you learn, or what do you think you already know, or what was the big takeaway? And then on the right-hand side were my main ideas. Like, if nothing else, did you get A, B, and C? And so the students would answer the question while the Jamboard background was white. And then you would change the color at the end of the activity to reveal. Wow. I love that. Absolutely, yes. That's a really cool one. Anything else? Yes, sir.
For project-based learning, I really liked your examples of sticky notes to track where all the kids are making progress. throughout the project.
Absolutely. So a lot of the ones at the end were classroom management, things that we as a teacher can do, not necessarily an instructional activity, but things that can make our life easier. Similar to what I did with the breakout groups to kind of watch, do you have a question? Do you not have a question? But the project-based learning where students can move their Post-it note through the process because it is fluid. Sometimes you're ideating, sometimes you're designing, sometimes you have to go back to ideate, and that's fine. That's the way it goes. But this is a way that you can monitor and even have them kind of respond somewhere else if they wanted to with more details about what's happening in that part of their work. But yeah, using this as a classroom management tool. Where are you in your writing process? Where are you in your project-based learning? Where are you? I worked with a special ed teacher and we created the one about her students' caseloads. What do you have due for this teacher? Is it in progress or have you turned it in yet? So the student can be communicating in a very fluid way. Yeah, that's a really cool idea as well. Anything else?
Katie, one question from the chat. If you have it up, is what utilities do you see in Jamboard that could not be done in a shared Google Slides presentation?
Chris, I'm really glad you asked that question. We actually had that conversation in the room already. I think that Google is really versatile. It does a lot of things, and some of its apps really kind of nail into a certain thing. For example, what's the difference between a slides and a drawing? Very little, in my opinion, except that you can put multiple slides together, whereas opposed the drawing is all by itself. I could use those interchangeably in some ways. A lot of times people ask, why would I use Jamboard and not a Google slide? You're right. There are a lot of things that are very similar. So this is where task comes before tool. The thing that Jamboard really highlights is the ability to kind of zoom in and zoom out in an ultra way to create a larger whiteboard space. If you have the capability for handwriting, whether it's a stylus or with their finger, being able to handwrite is better on a jam than it is for a slide. Also, I came from a high school background. And when I was in the classroom before I became an ITRT, we were one-to-one devices with an iPad, and watching those high school football fingers try to drag and drop and move text boxes, the text boxes would delete, reshape, flip around, and it's much easier to move a sticky note or text box here. So it truly depends on what your purpose is. You might at the end of the session decide, nope, everything I would instructionally do, I do on a slide and I'm happy there. That's fine. I'm glad to show you what it can do, and you can make the choice for what works best for you. Okay. All right. So I think I'm going to kind of go ahead and keep going because I have so many things I have planned, but I do want you to know you get a Jamboard activity and you get a Jamboard activity. Sorry, that was my own question. Did it work?
Yeah.
Thank you. So if you click on this bit.ly link, it will take you to the document you see here on the left-hand side. And what I've done is I've given you what you saw today and more, a few more. You should know that Jamboard only lets you have 20 frames. So I had to kind of max myself out with so many activities. So the Google resource is that tutorial where I show you what I have and how to use it. And then the Jamboard sample will be a Forza copy so that you can make a copy of it and then make it your own. Okay. Also, because I'm here for you, if we go ahead and click on these links, if you go ahead and click on it, I'm also giving you the Google Drive that has all of my background images. So if you liked the templates, but maybe want to tweak it because you'd like 3 choices instead of 4, or you want to put your little spice or bitmoji on it, this is yours. This should be view only, so please remember to make a copy. I have the PNG formats if you like it just the way it is, or you have the Google Drawing that you can make a copy of and modify for yourself. You get a Jamboard. So here, this is for you. I do want to show you this one thing. One of the things that folks, especially my math and science teacher, liked is being able to do some longer notations and being able to do some think it out and write it down, especially in virtual. So I literally gave you a blank, transparent, regular old, just to kind of let you know that you can come in here. Oh, y'all, I'm coming from history. Please don't make me. Y equals 3x plus 4. Is that good? Is that a thing? Okay, good. Woo-hoo. So like you can type and you can add it in, and then all you have to do is go up to File, Download as a JPEG, and now you have a background to put in so that students can't move your math around or accidentally delete something and go in, and it creates a nice static, can't move it background, and then they can do whatever they want over top of it. Okay, so nice and easy. And because I have the memory that is the opposite of an elephant's, I also put directions over here where it's not going to download so that it shows you make your changes. Here's how to download it. Okay, you guys have any questions? All right, so here are all my resources for you. I'm going to go ahead and close some of these. Oh, sorry, group 3. All right, let's see what else. Oh, later on, I'm going to be talking about the differences between the web versus the app. I just want you to know, again, you don't have to remember any of this. I have it written down for you. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but I was raised by a kindergarten teacher and a high school principal, so I color code data. Spreadsheets are my happy places. So I have a chart that is organized and sorted by what can you do on the web versus what can you do on the mobile app. Because again, task comes before the tool. What's your goal? What's your purpose? Then you can decide which place you should work. Personally, when I'm building, I build in the web, and I often instruct and use my students through the app. That's just my personal preference on the way it's used, but this will show you exactly what can do what. All righty. All right, I am leaving my presentation for quite a while. If you have any questions about the things I'm about to talk about, you can click on this link, and I have a tutorial that will go through everything I'm about to show you. It's going to show you how to do things in the web versus the app. It goes through creation. It talks about how to share things. My district is a Schoology district. So my resources in here are based on my knowledge of Schoology. It is my understanding that Canvas uses Google Assignments. I also have directions in here for Google Assignments. So a question came up earlier. How do I share this with my students? Do I just force a copy, make a copy? The directions for Google Assignments will be relatively similar to Classroom, should be similar to Canvas, and then I have Schoology. And if I missed another one, email me, kmoran@rockingham.k12.va.us. We'll figure it out, okay? All right. Okay, so how do we get to a Google Jamboard? We're gonna go to drive.google.com. There's a bunch of ways to do this, right? All right, so I'm gonna click on, nope, not my priority. Who knows what that is? So if I go, you're gonna have your most common things when I click on new. But all the fun things are tucked away in more. And if you scroll down, it's this orange square with kind of a music note icon, and I can click on that, and that will create my Jamboard, okay? Jamboard is just like Drive, and excuse me, just like Docs, Slides, Sheets when it comes to, it lives in your binder, it lives in Google Drive. You can, of course, access it by going straight to Jamboard, but you can also organize it, put it in a folder, color code it, subfolder it, however you want in Drive. Just like in a binder, you can only organize so much within a section, right? It's the binder that organizes. It's the same way with Jamboard. You're gonna have tons of jams floating around inside Jamboard proper. If you wanna organize them so they're easier to find, you have to do that in Drive, okay? So that's how I created a new one, because I believe in showing you multiple ways to solve the same problem. You can also do the tried and true waffle. Is that what we call this? The matrix, the waffle. And then we scroll down and there's my music note. And that will take you to the Jamboard proper, where you can't put them in folders, but you at least have them listed here. Does any, this is like the Monica Geller closet, right? It's just like all the things you just, I don't even want to look for it. I don't know. I'm just going to find the thing and move on. You can sort them to some degree, the ones you own, to kind of sort through the ones students have shared with you. You can also go to a list view. Isn't this cool? This is a film strip view. So it's showing you each of the slides. So you can see, have they started? Have they not started? There we go. You can see, you know, which one to work on, because I can never tell from this view which one I want. All right. And then of course you can just click on that plus sign in the bottom corner to create a new one. I'm going to go ahead and title it My Cool Jam. For those of you that are familiar with Google Slides, your slide deck navigation is on the left-hand side, right? And to add a new slide, it just kind of filters right down on the left. Jamboard's going to do those across the top, okay? Jamboard has frames. That's what they call these. They're not slides, they're frames. Not that you'll ever be judged or quizzed on this, but for the sake of vocabulary. This is where you can expand your frame bar to add more. I can simply add by clicking on the right arrow that creates the next one. I can also click on this to expand and use a plus sign to add one before or after. I can even come up here to 3 dots and choose to duplicate. So if you created one and you want to keep doing it, full disclosure, you can't take a frame from one jam and put it in another, okay? Like you can't even do like the trick where like you select all and copy and try to paste it. I know. What you can do is up here on the top where there's 3 dots are, there's that menu for more actions. You can download a frame as a picture, which is actually kind of cool because after the kids do their work, you can save it as a picture and put it in their notes, put it in their presentation, put it somewhere so they can keep it. But you can save your jam frame as a picture and upload it into a different one, but like the moving stickies, like they don't move anymore. The text boxes don't move anymore. So when you're all done, you can also download this as a PDF. Again, if the kids do great work, I use this as a planner when I'm working with folks and we want to kind of make a plan for where are we going, what are we doing, I can download it as a PDF and attach it to Schoology, Canvas, Classroom, email, Padlet, Crow, however you communicate that information with others. You can make a copy. So if you're going to do this for multiple classes, you make the one and then you can make a copy that is interactive for each of your classes. But I do kind of want to point over here to version history. Y'all, this is a big change for Jamboard, because especially with the little kids, they go in and they start touching things and moving, and like your original gets messed up. All you have to do is go to version history and go back to the original. I've even gotten in a habit of calling my, when I'm done, I've made the thing, I go and I call it final. This is it. This is the one, like I'll call it. This is the one. So that when something breaks bad, I go to version history and I click on restore this one. I also do this for the end of a class period because in high school we see the same, I do the same activity multiple times a day. I don't want to keep creating new jams. So what I'll do is when the kids are done, download what their work was as a PDF and then go back to my original and have it reset for the next class. Or I could name it first period's work, fourth period's work. And so when first period comes back, I restore first periods and we keep going. Kind of cool, huh? You never pause. You can do that with any reversion history. You can be doing that in your Google Docs. You can be doing that in your Google Slides. You can be doing that anywhere that has version history. So maybe that could be your takeaway today. On a web version, and I know I'm kind of belaboring a point here, but on the web version, see how like you can see the internet? Like you can see jamboard.google.com. Like you see the internet that's got a whole bookmarks up there. You can zoom in and zoom out using this button just like you would with slides. It's kind of clunky and it moves in a metered in and out way, but that's your zoom in and zoom out option. You can set your backgrounds. All of these options are available in the mobile app except for this one, where you can add your own background image. This was a relatively new change within the last year that you can add your own background image. This is where you guys were doing some activities where you could write all over it, but you couldn't move my stuff. You couldn't move my graphic organizer. This is how I did it. And this is why I say I typically build online on the web so that students can work on their Chromebook, because I want to be able to come in here and add my image. And now it's a background. I can come over here to my pencil and it doesn't matter. It's not going to move. It's not going to change. It's not going to take away. I can clear my frame at the top to start over. If a kid comes in and just wonks it, clear it, start over, okay?
So did you create all of that in Jamboard, or is that a file you had someplace else and you
Absolutely.
uploaded to it?
These are the Google Drawings that I shared with you all.
Okay.
I create my backgrounds in Google Drawing or Google Slide because you can
So how do you upload because I'm not seeing a place to upload a file or anything like that. So how did you get that?
set background here. Set background, there's like a little plus sign here for a photo or image.
Can you do that for any other type of file, or does it just have to be a picture?
It's for a photo. I believe for background, only for a picture. Over here where you can add a photo that's not the background, I believe you can do GIFs.
So
But
you
there's
could-
a process
so what-
and I'm
what
not
I'm trying to think out is, so like if you had like a worksheet of math problems or something like that, instead of loading it as a file, take a screenshot of it, save it as a picture, and then put it in.
Bingo.
Okay.
That's exactly what you do. And what I would do is I would use the template I gave you that's already measured for like the ratio, or you can make your own a blank 16:9, screenshot it and put it on that. Because otherwise it will try to stretch it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So oftentimes when my teachers are doing screenshots, I encourage them to chunk their worksheet into multiple frames so that it fits and they have room to work. But you could do a variety of different things, which I'll kind of be showing you as we go along. Just because I'm already up here and I want to move away, this is the last time I'm ever going to refer to Jamboard as a device. Jamboard is actually like Smartboard, like Promethean board, like board. That's what it was before it was an application. So sometimes when you're Googling help with Jamboard, you start hearing about wiring and display options. And you're like, no, I just want to know how to add a picture. So jams are what we're making. See, I call it my cool jam, like this kind of thing that I'm making, like a slides. I'm making a jam, okay? Jamboard is the application, but it's also a device. If you wanted to open on a Jamboard, that's what they mean. They're not saying anything else except send this to your Google's device Jamboard. And I'm assuming you all don't have Jamboards in your building. Most people don't. They have Smart Promethean or something else or none of the above. So don't even worry about that little picture up there, okay? My eraser, if I wanted to erase something specific, if I double tap on the pen, I can choose colors. You get 6. Don't wear them out. And they left off purple. I don't know, maybe one of these days we'll get some more color options, but for right now, that's it. So color code accordingly, okay? Plan accordingly for colors. Here's your, to get your mouse back. Otherwise, if you have a pen, every time you click on it, it will draw. And we've all kind of been there. That'll be more of an issue on the mobile. I can add a sticky note. Sticky notes are great because you can make them super small. Kids can sign up for things by putting their names in different quadrants. Lunch choices could be a thing. Who's going to work in what small group? What station are we starting at? And they move their things as you do learning stations around the room. They can color code again. And I can make it really small. So I could fit a ton of people in here. Like I could theoretically make a design of my classroom and they would put their Post-it note about where they're going to be or what they're going to be doing. Okay, because you can make them super small. If I click on photo, you get all of the beautiful options that you would normally get for photos. So you can upload something you've created from Google Drawings. You can find a picture. Maybe you want them to annotate. Maybe you're going to pull in a picture of a graph or a chart and they have to be able to analyze the data. They have to do something with it. So you can pull something from the internet, use something from your Google Drive, do an image search or a camera option, hands-on learning, online analysis. So they learn something in the classroom, they do something in a lab, they take a picture of it, and then they can come into the Jamboard and share it with others and talk about it, annotate it, analyze it, do something with it, okay? Don't forget about the camera option. Pull what you're doing in the real world into the digital space if you're trying to communicate in that way, okay? How are my questions? I'm going quick.
No questions, just
Okay.
a few people saying they like using Google Slides to make their Jamboard backgrounds.
Oh, slide, yeah, exactly, because it is very similar to drawings and what functionality you have for design, but you can make multiple things in one place, which saves files on your computer. You can have one slide just for making backgrounds. Here's a cool trick that I saw from someone, probably Kim Matina. It's being honest, if you guys don't know who she is, Google her. She's the Jamboard queen. I think it's Matina, M-A-T-T-I-N-A. Is anybody? Someone's going to Google it and correct me. I know the first name's Kim. I got that part right. I think she's the one that showed me this trick, but you could use something like this and I can use the color to change it. Let's say that you have a text box over here and I'm going to say activity 1. Did I spell activity right? I can't spell on the fly. And I'm going to duplicate it and move it over here. And I'm going to say activity 2. Okay, so I might tell my kids, hey, right now, this is what we're focusing on. This is what we're doing right now. Everybody, eyes on this one. And then I can come over and say, all right, we're moving over here now. Let's move over here. You can use the shapes as a way to highlight, as a way to draw attention to. You can also use these to cover up information, make it a big old secret, because you don't want them to see it yet. One of these reveal strategies, right? So you can use these again. Very similar to Google Slides, right? Not trying to hurt my slides, folks. You can do that there too, but just an option here as well. If you are doing text box, you have a few editing options. That's it. Don't go crazy. Plan accordingly. And honestly, when you resize it, it's going to do it anyway. It's going to make it bigger and bolder and larger and smaller based on how you do that with your few colors and your alignment options. You have a laser pointer. I'm sure you know this if you've used it before because the kids just let it get it out of their system and then make them put it away because they can't help themselves. It's a laser pointer. Okay. Do you guys have any questions before I move on? I'm going really fast. All of this is in my tips and tricks, okay? All right. So, because I'm feeling confident, I am going to move over to my Chromebook. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to share this one now, the entire screen. How we doing, Zoomers? Can you see me? Did it work? Let's see. So what we want to do, because right now you're staring at yourself and it's super awkward, but that's what you're supposed to see for right now. So that would mean it's working. So I am going to be using a Chromebook that is enabled by, I have the Google Play Store on my Chromebook. Our students have that option. You can also do this on an iPad. It's the exact same app and options on an iPad. It just, or your phone. If you want to do this on your phone, it's just the mobile app. So you're either going to an Apple iTunes App Store, or you're going to a Google Play Store to get the mobile app. The whole benefit of mobile is you touch it. Okay, so the benefits of what I'm showing you now have to do with touchscreen. If you don't have touchscreen Chromebooks, you may have access to iPads, and this is where it would apply there. Okay, all right. So I've already gone through the process of going to my Play Store and downloading it. If you need help with that, please let me know. I'm not going to take time for that now. I'm going to go ahead and open the app. Because I'm an educator, does anybody notice any difference between Jamboard on the web versus Jamboard on the app? Not yet? Not yet. Okay. So we see that it's still this disorganized, right? You see that you can still come in here and have a list. And you can see that you have that option and the film strip option. I'm going to click on My Cool Jam. Now, do we notice any differences between the web version and the app?
I don't see the toolbar right away.
No toolbar at the top. No website, no file, edit, apps, or any kind of things at the top. I am in an app. You can also notice that I don't have any editor options. You see that? So when you first open into it, it's view only. Kids like, I can't do anything. You got to touch on the pencil. Pencil down here in the corner. Now you get your tools. Do you still see differences? There's like the zoom isn't there. Yeah, the toolbar. There is no toolbar at the top, right?
Your options are.
But the options on the left are.
The options on the left are similar but different because it would just be too easy if it was all the same, right? So this is kind of one of those clues. So how do I change my background? Well, I go up here, remember my frame? Expand my frame bar, right? And I can duplicate and add pictures. So let me add. And if I click on the 3 dots, that's where my background's hiding. I have it labeled. Don't panic. Don't panic. Okay, I got it all labeled for you, but there are some slight differences. And do you notice that the picture icon's gone? So you can't add your screenshots here. This is just where you can do some basic background changes. So maybe I want to do some graphing. Maybe I want to do some handwriting. Maybe I just like color. You have your options, okay? Let's see. Here's the fun part. Y'all watching? I'm gonna go and put this in tablet mode because it's easier for me. How are we doing online?
Doing great.
Woohoo!
One person did want to point out though that it's Kimberly Mattina, M-E-T-T-I.
Ah, see, I knew it. See, can you spell that again?
M-E-T-T-I-N-A.
There we go. She's the queen. She's awesome. Go to her way, click, get all of her stuff. I can't even compare. Why would I make templates when she's done it all?
She's got a YouTube channel.
Yes, she's got a YouTube, she's got a blog, she's got a website. She's great. Okay. Because it takes a village, right? Like, yes. All right. So I am going to pick this up. Please don't drop it. I don't want to watch myself. I'm gonna close this. Okay, you ready? So because it's all about touch, that's the whole point of a mobile, right? You got to be really mindful about what button you have to choose because see the arrow here? That's the only one that lets you kind of do a thing without moving it. I would like to handwrite. So I'm going to, I can do my math problem. Okay. I can also, I'm pinching and I'm pulling. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. See how tiny that is? There it goes. Way up in the corner. So you can benefit from the pinch and pull for some of my math folks that have very long and lengthy problems. It gives you a little more room to work around. One of the samples I had was brainstorming, where it was kind of this web, where we started small and just kind of kept moving the screen around while we were planning and thinking and brainstorming. So that's one of the options. A double tap, I can see all of my options. We have a highlighter, we have a marker, we have a watercolor, which is kind of a highlight, kind of an option. Like if you wanted to do something like that. Notice that if I touch it twice, it makes it darker. So I guess if you're an artsy person, this is how you would make your purple. You do your blue and your red and keep messing with it until you can get the color you want, okay? If you don't like how it overlaps, don't pick up your pencil, just keep. Don't move it, just keep it. All right. Back to pencil, back to black. Here's the,
Katie, there's one question in the chat. Is the frame infinite in all directions?
it is not infinite. It is large, but not infinite. Okay, so see assistive drawing tools. This is why y'all came today. Anybody know about these? This is why you came today. You ready? All right. So we're gonna click on this little arrow. We're gonna click on the A, text, handwriting to text. Anybody have that really, really, really intelligent student that's really, really terrible handwriting and you can't, I don't know what you mean. Okay, so here's, let me find some space.
Legit.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm doing a little dance. Zoom, can you see that? I'm sorry if you can see that. I'm doing a little dance. It's really awesome. Okay, so let me come over here to back to my arrow. I can move it. I want that question mark to go with it. So I hover. Do you see the cursor? What? It's a no, it does a thing. You gotta do the dance for it. What? All right. Are y'all dancing at home? I hope you are. I also hope other people can't hear me. Okay, so that's how you do. I'm not done. How many of y'all have to draw circles? Supposedly, if you go counterclockwise, it's easier. I've had a lot of coffee.
Katie,
Oh, thank you. It fixed it.
Good question. Is the assistive text only for the app? or-
Only for the app because it's leaning into mobile touch. It's leaning into the touch screen. That's why I make it on the web and students do it on the app because I want them to be able to have these features if they need it. Okay. I can also come in here and click those three dots. No, am I a big fat liar? I used to not be a liar. Because I'm using a black, that's why it's filled in black and using a black outline. If I wanted it to be clear, I would need to use that transparent or the white pen, okay? Last one. This is fun. I wish y'all had it. Y'all, is anybody else doing this on theirs? I wish you were, because this is the fun part. This is where it does the auto draw. Have you guys ever done this before? What am I gonna draw? I'm gonna draw a kitty cat. Nope, not bunny. Nope. Nope. Oh, there we are. Woo. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, and so now I have a kitty cat to add. What a cool,
That is pretty cool.
digitally appropriate and ethical way for students to add clip art that they create themselves. Okay, so they want to add the clip art or they want to add the thing, and this is like, don't go find it, don't go steal it from Google, just make it yourself. It's not gonna have everything. I do a really fun activity when I introduce students to Jamboard. I have a background of a farm, and I ask them to build me a farm and to add the animals to teach them how to use the tools. We get some real creative. We've got scarecrows, we've got unicorns flying through the air, we got all sorts of things, but the kids have a blast learning how to draw and animate and add to it. Just kind of a low stakes way to do Jamboard. Y'all have any questions? We good? We happy? All right, so if I want to erase something, I can come in and it kind of chips at it away. If I double tap the eraser, oop, I get the option to clear the whole frame. Okay, be careful. It's really easy to double tap. I'm glad it gives you a pop-up window. Like, are you sure? Oh, my God. Here's another thing. That math problem, it's taking up all of my space. So I'm going to use the arrow to circle it. I'm going to reshape it and move it out of the way. Right? Right? That's so cool. And then you can duplicate it and then move it around or whatever. Laser pointer, same thing. Now, the plus sign down here is where all the other options were. It's like it ran out of room. You still get to add a picture. You still get to do some other things, but they tucked them away. So this is where your sticky notes are. On a Chromebook, I can come down here. Do you see how I have these options? And one of them's like a little squiggle. Do y'all know about this? If I click on squiggle, got it. Hold up. I knew this was going to happen. Wait for it. Okay. Plus sign, sticky note, handwriting. It can read. Sure can. Keep going. Edit. Let me try it again. But you can see, like you can see the point. If I hadn't put my Chromebook down while I was presenting, it would have worked, I promise. Ain't nothing easy, right? So you can go in and the kids can handwrite an answer or they can type. It's a different accessibility options. For some kids, that's just simply engagement. You know, oh, I can handwrite it instead of type it. Okay. Doesn't matter to you, does it? But maybe that's the thing that's going to get them interested for 5 more minutes. So that's one of the options. Okay, and again, you can make them super small to kind of move them around and sort and organize them. I'm hitting the plus sign again at the bottom. So it has images, drive content, camera, image library. All of those were collapsed into the one photo option online. It's the same thing. It's just they sorted them out here. I don't know why. I guess because an iOS might be different from Google. I don't know, but that's how it is. If you click on image library, that's where you can go in and add from your drive. So if the kids took a picture or you downloaded something, you can't do background. You can't do the background option, but you can add. So this is where a kid takes a picture of their lab and they add it and they annotate it. Okay. You could do the camera option here. So plus sign, camera. Okay. Oh, it's blurry. Maybe you're welcome. Now, do y'all see that I don't have any corners? I can't rotate it. I can't move it. This always happens because it starts small. So use your pinch pull fingers to zoom in. Now when I tap on it with my arrow, now I have the options to resize it. That happens for all the things. Don't panic. You did nothing wrong. Just zoom in and then it will give you the dots. Okay. I think that's all I have to show you in here. Do you guys have any questions about how to create an ad inside of a Jamboard? Is it too much? Is it too fast? I get that a lot. I'm not quite done. I do have like my big finale. Wait for it. Well, now I've made it sound important. It's not important. I'm not moving. All right. Just wanted to put it. So things to think about in conclusion. with all the things I've shown you and all the things you have to consider, it really does come down to task before tool. Who's gonna be using it? How are they gonna be using it? Is it to collaborate? Is it for individual creativity? Am I disseminating it? Are they bringing it back to me? And which tools did I show you work best for those different needs? I personally think that Jamboard is one of Google's strongest applications when it comes to our 5 Cs, because it allows us to be connected when we can't be in the same room. It allows us the elbow room to work without a teacher hovering. It allows us to be creative because we can handwrite, because we can think, because we can pull and take and interact. I have a live updating chart if you just want a website to bookmark. I also have a PDF of this chart if you wanted to print it and put it on your bulletin board next to your computer. Those links are there. Folks, I appreciate your time for the first session of the morning. This was a big task, but I greatly appreciate it. I would love to present on this topic more. So before you close your computer and move on, I would be so grateful if you could take the time to answer just a few questions so that I can keep doing this. I respond to feedback. See, they told me I'd messed it up earlier. I fixed it. Y'all don't even know where I fixed it. I listened to feedback. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your conference. And I am doing one more session, same time tomorrow, not in this room. And that's on Google Earth. So if you liked me and you like what I have to say, I'm doing something with Google Earth and student-led virtual tours. Okay. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Zoomies and zoomies.
Now breathe.
Yeah. I mean, to the seconds. Great.
Yeah. My daughter, well, they call him